Welcome back, everybody, to your favorite channel and mine. Let's talk about sleep. Here's the book. Amazon link to that is in the description box down below, as always. As we get closer to 1,000 subscribers, we're getting there. One lucky viewer at random will get a signed copy of that. We gotta be in it to win it, so make sure you subscribe. Please click like. Please share this with your friends and family. And as I always say, these videos are for education only. Now, with that being said, let's talk about today's topic. So, I was interviewed probably about a month ago or so from this online magazine called everydayhealth.com. So they have some good stuff on there if you want to check it out. I'll post a link to my article, or the article I was interviewed for, in the description box down below. But they were talking about the studies that have come out in the last year or two since the pandemic has been going on, and those who have this long COVID, that COVID with the symptoms remaining or residual symptoms that have been ongoing. What are the studies showing how this has affected their sleep and insomnia and fatigue and things of that nature? So I'm going to kind of read some statistics from these studies, from this article, and then I'll end with kind of what they were asking me, what can we do about this, okay? So, the first thing is that in the sleep meeting that I talked about in a couple of videos, more than 40% of people who had this long COVID had moderate to severe sleep disturbances, and 7% were severe, related to insomnia. Okay, so fatigue. More than 2/3 in another study had moderate fatigue. 1 in 4 reported severe fatigue. Okay, so again, this whole notion of poor quality sleep and fatigue the next day following COVID is very, very common. Okay, those who are overweight, those who had any kind of anxiety disorder, severe general anxiety disorder, tended to do worse, which is not a surprise. So, what else did they find? A high incidence of psychiatric issues also happens in long COVID, okay? And it seems like there is a higher risk of inflammation, okay? So, what can happen is there's something called CRP, which is a risk or a marker of how inflamed the body is. And that's been shown to be elevated in those with who have had long COVID. One of the things that actually was shown to actually improve upon this was taking high dose melatonin. Now, these are small studies, and I'm not going to say people should go on melatonin to prevent long COVID or deal with it. But at one study showed at 21 milligrams, which is pretty high, there was a reduction in this CRP, this inflammation. So interesting stuff. Not really anything yet that's actionable. We're not telling patients go on melatonin to try to do this, to try to prevent long COVID or the symptoms of long COVID. But it is interesting, and it does kind of tie into the whole notion of poor sleep, high inflammation, fatigue, insomnia, right? All that stuff kind of, it's still trying to parcel it out, but it does tend to all relate to each other. Okay, so melatonin, right, that is a antioxidant, but it also helps to induce sleep. People who are not sleeping well, give them melatonin, that can reduce both of those problems, inflammation and insomnia. Okay, what does this mean for day-to-day life? Not much, but it is interesting to see that. And if you have had COVID and you do have fatigue and you have sleep problems, you definitely want to talk to your doctor about that. I think you should probably see a sleep specialist as well if you have access to them, because, like I said, from the papers I'm reading here, sleep problems are very common, as is fatigue. All right, so what can you do about it? All right, so this is where they ask me, what do I think? So, couple things. None of these things are going to be groundbreaking at all, okay? But this is just good sleep habits in general, okay? So trying to reduce screen time at night, right? If we keep going back to this whole notion of melatonin, the more you're exposed to what we call blue light, screens, iPads, iPhones, computers, that shuts off melatonin. Okay, and that can impact our ability to get to sleep. All right, so you want to reduce screen time. I would say 30 to 60 minutes before bed, no screens. Okay, avoiding naps or trying to reduce naps in the daytime. I talk a lot about naps. Naps can be very helpful, very useful, but they're a double-edged sword. When we nap too late or too long, okay, too long can be anywhere over, I would say, 40, 45 minutes. Okay, I would say keep a nap to 20 to 30 minutes. Or too late, that nap on the train home, or that nap after you've had your dinner and you're watching TV, that can really screw up your ability to get to sleep at nighttime. Okay, try melatonin, right? So I'm not going to say take melatonin to help reduce long COVID, but melatonin as a supplement can help people to sleep better. In addition to things that we're talking about, limit your time in bed. You don't want to just lie in bed for 12 hours when you're only sleeping, let's say, 6 or 7. You want to try to cut down the time you spend in bed. The reason for that is the brain needs to know this place is my place of sleep, not my place of worry and rumination and things of that nature. Okay? Additionally, that's not in this, but I recommend meditation, right? Mindfulness or guided meditation. Maybe what I'll do is a video on meditation. I think that would be helpful. How to meditate. That can be great before bed or in the middle of the night. Trying to get exercise in the morning. That combination of meditation at nighttime, exercise in the morning, getting some sunlight, right? These are all things you can do, all right? So the point is that if you've had COVID, long COVID, or just, the infection itself, there is a good chance that you do have some either brain fog or fatigue or insomnia. If it's kind of came and went, great, but there's some people who have this long COVID. I would say it behooves you to take care of it, okay, and to certainly follow good sleep hygiene tips. Maybe you want to go see a doctor about it, okay, because there are things that can be done. And that is, I think, all I want to talk about today. So I will leave the link to this article. It's a good article. I'm just kind of give some highlights here if you want to read that. So if you have any questions on this, comments on this, leave them in the comment section down below. This is an evolving field, okay? And once a month, I will answer all comments and questions in a video at the end of the month, okay? And until next time, sleep well.